All right. Happy New Year, everybody. It is January 2nd, 2019, and this is my Owning It video. I am Casey Hill Narcisi, for those of you who don't know me, and I am participating in the Owning It challenge from Diamond Dallas Page, the man, the legend. He's not a myth. The inspiration. Those of you who are on my social media, there's about 50,000 of you between all of my pages, and I don't even know how many are on my sales agents' pages and for my companies. But if you've seen my DDP Yoga stuff and you're following me and you see this video, then you know that I am all about a healing life and healthy living and my diet and my regiment, and I always have been. And back in 2015, I very publicly said that my friend Rob Kellum, who was a former WWE wrestler, had said, Casey, you've got to do this DDP yoga that Diamond Dallas Page started doing. And because I was just, my muscles were giving out, and they thought that I had MS. And as far as they know so far, it seems like it's just been my autoimmune diseases attacking my muscles and my brain nonstop, and my connective tissue. They thought that I originally had lupus, and back, I kept fighting through. In 2015, I regained my strength in my legs, and I took a setback after going to New Orleans and making the very not so smart move of indulging off of my diet and not being gluten-free at all, and not taking care of myself for 3 weeks with someone with the types of autoimmune diseases I have. It ended up being literally life-threatening, and it was proof for the autoimmune disease world that diet, and when you have these sensitivities to foods with an autoimmune disease, yes, it makes a difference, because that is the only thing that was going on down there. I was having the time of my life, enjoying being a newlywed with my husband, and that's it. I came home. I went from being a size 6, and I had been going up with my weight and having some inflammation, but then right before the wedding I went back down, and my wedding dress was small. I was back down to my size 6 size. I think I was like 160 pounds before the wedding. And my normal size is 110 pounds. 125 is my max usually in my life, but usually I weigh like 110 pounds. I'm 5'3". I'm a tiny girl. I've always been athletic, because my diet is always lean, clean, green. I'm usually a working out 3 hours a day person. I've been doing that since I was literally 8 years old. I used to do, no joke, mouser-size. A little trivia of me when I was a kid. Like, the Disney Channel started me exercising, and then I continued with my sister, who used to babysit me and bring me to Bally's Total Fitness while she was babysitting me. And she'd be like, okay, I'm going to go do aerobics, and you sit on the exercise bike, and I do the exercise bike. And my girlfriends hated sleeping over, because I'd be up at 5 a.m. wanting to go for a jog when I was like in junior high. And they were like, no, we want to sleep. It's the weekend. Like, this is just how I've always been. I had a garden since I was 12 years old. I was always about fit, clean living. So when I started gaining weight out of nowhere, I'm like, no, this isn't from my diet or how I'm living. Like, something's wrong. And it was my autoimmune diseases. DDP Yoga has been a huge part of saving my life, along with my husband had gotten me on the gluten-free path before he was my husband, just when he was my Facebook friend. and just meeting different people along the way. Even right now, Brenda Page has been guiding me through, which is Diamond Dallas Page's wife, through, giving me tips on different supplements and dietary changes that have been life changing right now in my battle. DDP Yoga is not just exercise, it is a family, it is a way of life. It is just like a total mind body healing. And let me say again, it's a family. It's like, you're part of a family. You're part of, a whole entity. It's not just about you, and it's not just about losing weight. It's about getting healthy and getting better. And you're not alone. You're never alone. And that's the amazing thing, is you are literally, it's like the DDP Yoga family, DDPY. And it's all about like owning it and taking charge of your life and being unstoppable. So this is my unstoppable. So in 2017, after that honeymoon, I became life-threatening autoimmune sick. And I went into a massive, massive flare-up that with like an attack of my autoimmune diseases. I'm in Rhode Island in the USA, and we ended up in Boston. And I ended up with literally all of my organs compromised. My digestive tract wasn't working. My esophagus was not working. I was waking up in the middle of the night choking on my own saliva. My heart was not working. I couldn't even go to the bathroom without help. I was bedridden. I needed a CNA to come in to help me bathe. This was just not this past October, but October 2017. My husband would have to help me back and forth from the bed to the bathroom from October until February of 2017. I needed a cane to assist myself with someone helping, because I was that like, no, this isn't happening. And when the doctors said, you don't just have lupus, you have this rare anomaly happening where you have multiple of the major autoimmune diseases. I have mixed connective tissue disease, and my alpha disease is systemic scleroderma, which means I have the disease scleroderma, but it's inside of me attacking my organs. And then I have lupus, and then I have fibromyalgia and osteoarthritis and Sjogren's and Raynaud's phenomena and a whole bunch of other things. And I was like, okay, so at first I grieved, and then I didn't even make a public announcement right away. Like, everybody knew I went to Boston. They were like, okay, so what happened in Boston? And my husband and I just like didn't say anything. And the next thing I asked was, can I start doing my yoga again? And I'm in cardiac, like my heart's going into failure. And that's my question. Like, was two questions. Can I start doing my yoga again? I didn't tell them what yoga. I was just like, can I start doing my yoga again? And can I get on my treadmill? I was driving my doctors nuts. My cardiologists up in Boston and in Rhode Island probably like do not want to hear about my yoga and my treadmill for the rest of their lives. I think that if there is not another day in this lifetime that something happens where they have to take those things away from me, but I couldn't like do anything. My heart rate was not going below 120, and it was spiking up to 200. So, and I mean constant, even when I was sleeping, my heart rate was not going below 100. And that's insane. And you can have a heart attack. And it was like that for months. And so my heart was going to give out under those circumstances. They had to start chemo Thanksgiving week 2017. And the chemo wasn't for cancer. The chemo was to destroy my immune system to save my life, because one of the side effects of chemo is it destroys your immune system. And that's why sometimes cancer patients have to take a break if their immune system's too low, So for autoimmune patients with life-threatening autoimmune diseases, they have to sometimes like literally use it weekly, every week, to destroy a large enough portion of your immune system that it will just, not attack your organs. So that's what they did with me. They took out my immune system so that it couldn't kill me. And that was supposed to just buy me time. But what it did it bought me time to back off the diseases so I could figure this shit out. It was what I was doing. My husband looked at the Boston doctor. He was like, okay, so what diet and exercise do you recommend? And she was like, well, there's no medical data to support that, was her response. And my husband said, okay, so you don't know my wife. And that was his parting gift, his parting words to her. And I went home. And like I said, at first I took a deep breath and was like, and then I cried probably for a few days. And, my nursing staff, because I had 2 VNA staffs taking care of me at that point because I was literally bedridden and I needed a wheelchair. I needed to be wheeled in and out of the house and to doctor's appointments. Our anniversary that year, it was our 1-year wedding anniversary. We had only been married for 1 year. And my husband, my husband cooked dinner for us in the house. I couldn't even celebrate. I couldn't even celebrate my 1-year wedding anniversary by going out to dinner because I was so tachycardic. My heart was so bad that eating would make me go into tachycardia. I couldn't even eat. The act of chewing made me become that tachycardic. So doing the yoga, I was literally not able to do any movements at all for a few months. But I had my physical therapist coming in and I kind of engaged her, little did she know, into I'm like, but how about these movements? And I was doing my DDP yoga movements without engaging in the, to keep moving. So I was still with my physical therapist not doing the video, but I know the diamond dozen in my head because I had been doing it since 2015 and now it was 2017. So I know the diamond dozen. So I'm doing, the different movements and, and just, keeping that movement going as much of it as I could. I couldn't do things that were in the upright position, but I could at least do some of the things from my bed, arm motions, and, I could, bend over and, I could, move my legs and move my arms. I couldn't get on all fours. I couldn't stand up, but I could do a lot. You'd be surprised what you can do being bedridden in bed. And once they started the chemo in November, that led into my physical therapist. Like I said, I told my husband, I wasn't going anywhere. On our anniversary, which our anniversary is Christmas Day, we had gotten married on December 25th the year before. And I said to my husband, I said, I can't even eat. I said, I'm not going to have you waste money taking me out to eat. That's just who I am. I was like, I'm not going to have you waste the money to take me out to a fancy dinner. And I'm not even going to be able to enjoy it. I said, when I get better, you owe me our first anniversary dinner. So Quasi, that's my husband's nickname, Quasi, you owe me dinner. Because if you haven't noticed, I think he has noticed. He's probably planning something. Because we just had our 2nd anniversary. But we had a house full of kids, God bless. So, with that said, next thing, going into January, they started the chemo. My immune diseases were backing off, and I wish that I had video, but I've been going through a lot more than my autoimmune diseases. I've had a lot of personal things going on too, and other things. And I unfortunately, for me, I haven't had the support system in the house that everybody else has, and I haven't had people to take the videos and to do the videotaping. So I'm going to try my best to be doing selfie time, and I've already said selfie explosion is going to be happening for me in 2019. So, and maybe eventually my daughters are shy, so they're 14 and 15, so I don't ask them to do video for me. They kind of feel like they're going to mess something up, I guess, or something. So it's okay. But I didn't have anybody offering otherwise to take video. So, but I would just be like using my cane, having to do things like, a few minutes. And then I was back to 5 minutes and 10 minutes. And by April, I was doing my whole workouts again. And I was also doing my treadmill. That's like the smile. And so I was not only able to do a whole entire workout without getting tachycardic, but I was a whole DDP yoga workout, but I was able to do an entire 30 minutes on the treadmill at a 14% incline. Yes. And not get tachycardic. And so both in one day. And, so that was like awesome. And my cardiologist, after I came back from Disney World, and because my husband's a band director, and that was a pivotal moment, was number one, I went to Disney World, and my husband was performing with his students at Disney. They got chosen to perform at Disney. And they said, asked if I wanted a wheelchair. And I said, no, I'm doing this with no wheelchair, no cane. I did 12,000 steps the first day, 12,000 steps the second day. The third day, I did 17,000 steps. I overdid it. I needed a wheelchair the rest of the day, but that was okay. And I did a lot of Facebook Live. So, when that comes up with memories, I'm going to snag those so that I can kind of I'm going to be making a leading up to this year for my Unstoppable. And I'm going to be, doing a lot of, snippets going forward. So I went to my Boston appointment, no cane. The Boston doctor was like, she didn't think that I was going to improve, let alone be walking with no cane. And I was still at 225 pounds of inflammation and water retention weight. And bottom line, I kept tinkering with my diet, tinkering with my holistic regimen, and I figured it out. And I had an issue with my connective tissue being inflamed, and I started doing different things, figuring that out. Went to my cardiologist. He cleared my heart. I reversed my liver disease. I reversed my gastro issues with my diet. And I kept with my DDP yoga, breaking down the inflammation and stretching. Now, scleroderma scleroderma means it turns to stone. It's turning something to stone. My connective tissue in my legs was as hard as a rock. My muscles had turned stone, and I wish that I'm trying to look through all of my pictures. I wish I had pictures of it, because my legs, you could actually see that my leg muscle was as hard as a rock, and it was hardened. It was like a shelf. And again, like I said, I was so sick that I wasn't thinking to video and to photograph every single thing. I captured a bit, but just not every single thing. And I couldn't even lift my legs. And I wish I had someone who was with me who had like thought to have gotten all this. So that's how much the DDP yoga and the stretching and the strengthening, if I didn't have that to break through that, like people with this disease don't reverse it. That's what I'm saying. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal. And it's a similar thing to like fibromyalgia and whatnot. That's why, it helps to eliminate the pain. I'm still healing, so I'm having massive pain and muscle spasms. And what's happening is I had so much inflammation trapped underneath that hardened tissue that it's coming up like an volcanic explosion. And the doctor said they're expecting it to take like 2 to 3 years to heal. So I'm a year in the healing process, they think, because they think I started healing last December. So with that said, in 2018, August 1st, something magical started happening. My scale started moving from 225, and today I weigh 160 pounds, and my unstoppable goal for the entire year is to be down to 125 pounds. And because it's inflammation, I'm not putting a hard press. My spring goal is to be down to 145 by April. So because it's inflammation, it's a lot less controlled. It's not like losing actual regular weight. And I've already healed all my organs. Thank God the only damage I seem to have is I do have damage to my brain from the attacks of the inflammation. And I'll take it. That's all I have. But to continue being stable, my blood work has been stable. My EKGs and all of that for 9 months now. So in April, it'll be a year. So to continue that. And I had restarted doing my businesses over the summer with the help of my children. And I want to continue that happening because I was deemed disabled a while ago. And I don't like that. And so I want to keep getting stronger. So that's my unstoppable goal for the year, is to keep getting stronger, to get down to 125 and to keep my mission to remission. And, my doctors believe that I am heading into remission. So they're watching, but it's a wait and see. So, but they think that I am stable and I am showing signs that I'm heading into remission. And DDP Yoga is a huge part of that. And, So this is my unstoppable for the new year. And I was already unstoppable in 2018. I owned it. And, and DDP Yoga was a huge part of that. So that is my unstoppable. I want to get rid of this. That has to come with me everywhere. That is my heart rate monitor. I haven't needed it in a while, but it still has to come with me. And I want to stop having to wear this not sexy piece of jewelry. It's my medical alert bracelet, but see, I have to have a diva-esque one. So mine's like all fancy, but that's my medical alert bracelet. The only thing I want to be carrying with me is this, my DDP Yoga water bottle that I carry with me everywhere. So, with water in it, of course. So, that's it. Unstoppable. Owning it. So, keep going. I'm going to keep going. So, I'm down, man, down a lot of weight, getting there. Down to 160 pounds from 225, going down to 125, and I've been stable from autoimmune disease. I went from being completely bedridden to healing all of my organs, and it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, losing weight is great, but losing weight and healing, I reversed liver disease, I reversed gastroparesis, I reversed esophageal dysfunction, I reversed my heart going like with chronic tachycardia, a heart murmur, and an arrhythmia. I reversed my lungs having such bad inflammation that my oxygen was down to 90% most of the time, and I was bedridden. And if I can reverse all of that, and there was probably like a bunch more things that I'm forgetting. Those are like the main humongous things. And like my pancreas, chronic pancreatitis, I reversed that. I reversed insulin resistance from my pancreas. So if I can reverse all that, you can do anything. So weight loss was my bonus. Like healing and reversing all of that and getting my autoimmune diseases in check and showing them like, no, I'm the boss. I own this. This is me. That was the weight loss was just the bonus of it. So weight loss is great, but reversing autoimmune disease and all of that stuff, that was the big, huge owning it unstoppable moment for me in 2018. So 2019 is, keeping it going and going even further and getting, I'm on my way to remission. That's my mission. Remission, getting down to my normal weight and just keeping it going and being an inspiration to those that have autoimmune disease. So own it, unstoppable, and that's mine. And I'm going to be super public about it so that I am accountable. All right. Happy New Year, everybody.